This episode of LeapTV is made possible by CodeShed Solutions, your #1 source for scalable, simple web solutions. Coming up on LeapTV, how to kill your brand with 2 words. What are KPIs and why they're so vital to your business? And this week's tip of the week, the silver bullet. I'm Isabelle Mercier, and this is the show that shows you that small, consistent, and intentional actions lead to massive results. If you've watched episode 1, you know by now that branding is much more than a logo. Branding is about an experience, a feeling, a belief. And much like the human body, branding can be strong, but it can also be very fragile. And you can actually kill your brand with those 2 small but powerful words: company policy. In the past year, I've had the pleasure of buying 3 new laptops for my company. And I chose Sony Vaio as my company and my laptop of choice. Mac people, stay away with your comments. The buying process was actually quite simple and efficient, which I thought brownie point for Sony. The delivery was much faster than anticipated or even promised, and I thought, yay, kudos there. Nightmare in getting them set up and integrated in my company. There was a couple things that happened that I needed to really work at making it work. And after 2 months of pure hell, and no thanks to support, by the way, that was a complete nightmare, but I finally got it to work thanks to, my little geeky side. A couple weeks later, to my surprise, I get a survey from Sony asking for my feedback as to how my experience had been in purchasing my laptops. So I thought, nice, that's a great add-on, and it's very important for companies to ask for feedback. Bonus, it actually had a 20% discount on future purchasing. Needless to say, I really let them have it. I was not gentle with my feedback because I had quite the shit time with my laptops. The kicker, I got a phone call a couple days later asking me how they could actually make my experience better, because of course they had read my feedback and of course I had not held anything back. So kudos on them to make that extra step. So of course, I said there's nothing that can be changed. I did have a hell time, and support was actually not support at all. However, at this point, what would really help me is if they could throw in an extended life battery, and not that that would solve the whole thing, but it would end on a better note. And of course, there came the deadly reply of this, the company policy. He said, I totally understand, Isabelle. I know you had a really bad time in your process with us, but we can't give more than 20% on purchasing of accessories. We don't make a lot of money on accessories, and I know it's ridiculous and stupid, but it's company policy. So what's the lesson here? Of course, I'm not telling you not to have rules and policies and processes to follow, because any thriving and growing business needs those. But the important thing to remember is give your team the power to make pivotal decisions to salvage a customer relationship. One unhappy client can be actually quite devastating today with Twitter and Facebook and all those social media tools. People talk today as they used to talk, but they can talk louder today with those tools. So ask yourself, what can I do within my means, of course, to give my team the power to bend the rules when necessary? And remember, a customer really remembers a lot more the happy ending than the problem itself, if of course you've handled it well. And if you handled it well, you can actually create a lot more loyalty at the same time, which is key. Obviously, this one goes into my book as a brand hiccup. So now, time to get involved. I want to know your juicy brand hiccup stories. Who has pissed you off recently? Let me know by simply adding your comment below the video. It's simple, easy, and by the way, did you know that commenting actually is a great way to add traffic to your website? So take advantage of it. Now, before we move on with the show, I'd like to talk a little bit more about our sponsor this week, which is CodeShed Solution. CodeShed, Dina and Ian, which I call my dynamic duo, They're really truly the best at creating great online tools to help you simplify and integrate all your online needs, whether it's internet or intranet. They truly are able to make the web a happy place to do business. So head on over to coachette.net for more information and special offers. This week's question is from James Roberts from Surrey, BC. James writes, "Hi Isabel, thanks for all your great tips and simple strategies. I always look forward to your next episode. You recently tweeted about a great article emphasizing the importance of keeping a pulse on some important business numbers. I have a small design studio and wonder what numbers you would recommend I keep track of." James, I'm actually really glad you asked this question because keeping track of KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators, is vital for a business. And it gives us a means to keep track of patterns and business behaviors to eventually alleviate the highs and the lows in your business. So as a small design studio, here's what I would recommend you keep track of on a monthly basis. New contacts made, very important to keep track of that. Referrals received and who has referred that referral. Proposals made this month, which I called What's in Your Pipeline. Also keep track of your projects started and your projects completed in build because that gives you the total amount of what you've made this month. Keep track of your net revenue and also your gross revenue. Gross is not that important because gross is actually overall. What you really want to know is what's your overall number minus your cost of goods sold. What's the cost of goods sold? It's basically your overall revenue minus your printing costs or your web programming costs. Anything that is a cost to you has to be deducted, and that gives you your net. If you're interested in knowing more about KPIs, there is an article posted below this video at LeapTV.com entitled, "If you can't measure it, you can't manage it." Now, if you have other suggestions for James, or if you want to share some of your KPIs, simply post your comment below the video at LeapTV.com. In return for asking the question, James wins a 2-month free subscription to MyLeapTools.com. MyLeapTools is a vital resource with a constantly growing collection of tips, tools, and must-know strategies to help entrepreneurs like you effortlessly increase profit and performance. This week's performance tip is about the silver bullet. What's the silver bullet? It's the big kahuna, the leader of your project or of a simple task. It's really important to always appoint a leader, a silver bullet to every project and every task. Why? For accountability. So the silver bullet, as a note, does not have to be the person that is physically working on the task or on the project, but it is the one who is accountable for it getting done. Try it out as your leap of the week. Your next project, appoint a silver bullet. If you like this week's tip, chances are you would love MyLeapTools.com. Think of it as your vital performance catalyst zone. Now, if you want my help with a one-on-one personalized consultation for your business, just click on the link below the video at LeapTV that says Isabel on Demand. Also, don't forget to comment. We want to know your thoughts on this week's show. That's it for this week. Remember that everything you've learned here today will do absolutely nothing for you, unless, of course, you implement it. So take action on what you've learned here today, and remember that it's much easier to do it than to dwell on it. I'm Isabelle Mercier, and you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Join me again next week for other great branding lessons as well as great tips to help you perform like never before. See you next week. Coming up on Leap TV, how to kill your brand.
Brands?
That's right. All of them. All of them. I know. 12:30 midnight.
I know. Coming up on Leap TV.
customers do remember the happy, oh, that was so French, not even funny.
Happy.
The happy hour, yay! Okay.